I didn't know what I was going to do about my wife's infidelity. Sometimes you have to wonder if it's worth it. You go to work your ass off to provide for your family, make sure they don't need anything, and do they appreciate it? Not one bit. They look at it as they're just due. I went out of town to work with a client on a proposal for a job he wanted my company to do. I finished the job and called my boss to let him know I was done and would be going home a day early. He asked me to stop by the office and see him before heading home. I called home to inform my wife of my early arrival, but no one was home. I flew home, picked up my car from the satellite parking lot, and headed to the office. I called home one more time on my cell phone, but there was no answer. When I got to the office, the boss said we could talk over dinner and that it was his treat. I followed Dale to Carl's Chop House, and we spent the next half hour talking about my project and sipping martinis. Just as the food was being served, I saw a couple enter the restaurant, holding hands and head toward a table. Even with her back to me, she looked familiar, and I realized why when she turned and sat down. It was my wife. I saw the man she was with turn and kiss her, sitting down in the booth next to her, and I saw her turn her face so that their lips met. It suddenly became clear to me why no one in the house was answering the phone. May couldn't because she wasn't there, and since she was here, that meant that none of the kids could either, because May had taken them somewhere. I figured this is what happens every time I go on a business trip. When Dale and I got up to leave, May was facing me, so she didn't know about me seeing her. When we went outside, I said goodnight to Dale and told him I'd see him in the morning, then got in my car and parked so I could watch the door of the restaurant. When May came out, I watched her get in the car with her boyfriend, and when they drove off, I followed them. They didn't make it 5 blocks before they pulled into the motel parking lot, and I sat across the street and watched them check in and go to their room. I guess that explained why May and I's sex life had slowed down a lot. I wanted to go over and kick the door in, but I didn't. I just started the car and drove home, parked a block away, and went inside to wait for May. When I got home, it was empty. So I guessed correctly that she had dumped the kids on someone. In a way, that was good because they didn't need to hear what was going to happen when May got home. It was almost 4 in the morning when May walked into the house and found me sitting on the couch waiting. "Hi, honey. When did you get home? I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow." "That's what I figured when you didn't return my calls and didn't show up when I got home." "I know, baby, and I'm sorry. But Eliza Johnson was in a car accident, and I was in the hospital most of the day and night. Your parents were kind enough to take the kids." "I've heard that hospitals don't have enough beds, but I haven't heard of hospitals overcrowding and sending people to local motels." May's face lost a little of its color, and she asked, "What do you mean?" "Well, I think it means that I almost made a terrible mistake and accused you of something you clearly didn't do. When you left Carl's Chop House tonight and went to that motel with that man you had dinner with, I thought for sure you were cheating on me. But now that I know you were just visiting Elise, I feel a lot better." May adopted a determined look on her face and sat down in the chair across from me. "I'm not really cheating on you, Harold. I love John and I intend to divorce you and marry him. I'll just wait until the end of the school year so I don't disturb the kids." I just sat there looking at her until she got uncomfortable and said, "Not that it matters to you, Harold. You don't spend any time with me anyway. All you do is work, work, work." "Yes, I did work long hours, but that's what you have to do to make good money, not just make a living." I looked around the room, looked at the expensive furniture that May just had to have, the original artwork on the walls that she just had to have, and wondered why I was even doing this. Until May laid out her divorce plans to me, I didn't know what I was going to do about her infidelity, but as I listened to her, my anger grew and took shape, and a plan was brewing in my head. If that's the way you feel, then I don't see what I can do other than step aside and let you go. However, I insist on keeping up appearances for now. That's my payment for not arguing with you." With that said, May was satisfied with her, and we went to bed. The next day, I called an old friend of mine from college and asked him to do me a favor. The following Thursday, we played poker regularly at our house. May always acted as hostess, and according to our arrangement, she greeted the players as they came in and acted like the loving wife she was not. As the evening progressed, I kept a close eye on May, and finally she gave me the chance I had been waiting for. She set her drink aside and went to the bathroom. I threw up my hand, got up from the table, took May's glass, went into the kitchen and made her a fresh drink. I pulled a small bottle out of my pocket and, using an eyedropper, dripped the contents of the bottle into May's glass. A friend of mine from college had done me a favor by asking his younger brother, who was in college, to get me a drug to use on a date. According to the instructions I was given, I wasn't supposed to give more than one drop unless I wanted May to be out for hours. One drop was supposed to disorient her, but not knock her out completely, and for what I was planning, I didn't want May to be completely knocked out. I got back into the game and waited to see how long it would take. May came down from the bathroom, took a sip of her drink, and went around the table checking to see if the guys wanted fresh drinks, then went to take orders. We were playing 7-card stud, and I got my third card, the top card, just as May headed for the kitchen. It was the ace of spades, and looking at my whole cards, I saw that it was accompanied by the ace of diamonds and the ace of clubs. Yes, this was indeed my night. It was a little over 20 minutes before May said she wasn't feeling well and was going to get up and lie down. I was done with the game and then called a timeout. I've known you guys for almost, 10 years? I received a general nod of the head. Every one of you has told me at one time or another how lucky I am to have a beautiful wife like May and how much you envy me. Human nature is such that each of you dreamed of taking her to bed. Before the rebuttals began, I raised my hand and asked them to let me finish. I told them about coming home early and what I had found and said, she may get her divorce, but I'm going to get my revenge before she leaves. I told them about the drug to use on the date and said, she's upstairs now, and this is your chance. Even if you've never wanted to make love to her, I'll consider it a personal favor if you take advantage of this special offer. I intend to tape the whole thing and wait until she marries her lover and then send him a copy of the tape. I'll try to keep your faces out of it if you don't care. How about it? Any takers? Things had worked out just fine if May had agreed to it beforehand. As the guys undressed her, she stared at them wide-eyed, and her feeble attempts to ward them off looked, at least on the tape, like she was trying to hurry things along. Tom made love to her, and then Sam was ready to take his place. After that, I moved over and filmed the tape from all angles with May, looking like she was enjoying it, and enjoying having all 6 of my friends take turns having sex with her. About a half hour after the party started, I got what I was hoping for. I got some great shots of May wide-eyed on her hands and knees having sex with 2 guys. It was getting close to 3 in the morning and the guys were exhausted, so I handed the camera to Sam and told him to be sure to get my face in the picture. I got in line, and when Mac was done, I stepped forward and made love to my wife. Yay. It took me 10 minutes to do my thing. I took my camera and put the final scene in my movie. I had Ben lie on his back. Then we lifted May up and sat her on top of Ben. It looked so good that the guys who were about to leave got naked again to try it. It was another hour before they all got dressed and left. I left May lying on the bed and went to the spare bedroom to stay the night. I was sipping my coffee at the kitchen table when I heard the shower running, and 10 minutes later, May walked into the kitchen. A little unsteady on her feet, she walked over to the coffee pot and poured herself a cup. Turning around, she leaned on the counter and gave me a look that would have knocked me down if looks could kill. What did you do to me last night? Made sure you got what you wanted. You like having sex with other guys at my expense, so I decided to help you out. That's not true, and you know it. I love John, and I'm going to marry him. They're not the same thing. You're married to me, and behind my back you've been cheating with another man. And that's cheating by any stretch of the imagination. If you came to me and honestly said, Harold, I don't love you anymore and I'm going to leave you, and then left and had sex with another man, things would be different. But you didn't do that. You cheated on me. But that's neither here nor there. It's a given that it's over between us, so go ahead and get a divorce and marry John. But I expect you to keep having sex with me and my friends whenever I want you to. You must be out of your mind. There's no way in hell I'm going to do that. Your choice, May. The first time you say no, a copy of the tape I made last night will be sent to all your relatives. It will go to your parents, grandparents, brother and sisters, and any other relative of yours I can find. I'll make sure a copy gets to all your friends, and I'll personally give a copy to John. And then, of course, there's the internet. How do you feel about having your own website? The bottom line is that it didn't stop you from cheating on me, which means it shouldn't stop you from cheating on him either. Why did you do this to me? You did it to yourself, May. I loved you, worked hard to provide for you, and give you what you wanted, and all I got for it was a stab in the back. I did absolutely nothing for you to deserve what you did to me, so don't blame me when I demand payback. You may be too free for me now, but from tonight until the wedding, I will expect you to lie in my bed, ready to do whatever it takes to satisfy me. After you marry John, we'll work out some sort of schedule. And by the way, the guys had such a good time last night, they want to end every poker game this way, so until next week, why don't you go out and buy some real sexy panties? You're an asshole, Harold, a dirty, rotten asshole. I know, May, and you, my dear, are my cheating asshole from now on and forever. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.